What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for a special little video here because this is a historic moment as the mid-engine Corvette has finally been revealed after decades of speculation and years here of us, following the development. It's a really big deal. I mean, this is something that's been in the works for a long time. And so a very special night, I had to do a special video for this vehicle. So the main thing here is you can get a mid-engine brand new 2020 Corvette for less than $60,000. That's one of the last little bits of info they dropped right at the end of the reveal event. And that's huge. Everyone was expecting it to be around 70 grand, and I'm sure you can get these things well into the 70s and beyond with the higher trim packages. But the fact you can get a base one for under 60 is going to be very tempting for a lot of people. I mean, even myself, just the idea of having a mid-engine vehicle that's going to have supercar performance for that type of money that's, only a few grand more than my Bullet costs is tempting. So anyway, let's get into all the details here of the mid-engine Corvette. 2020 model year, it's officially called the Corvette Stingray. They've brought that back. What it's going to be running is the very similar naturally aspirated 6.2 liter LT2 version of the pushrod V8, similar to the C7, but things are a little bit changed since it now is, swapped around and it's in the back, so the breathing setup's different and stuff. But it makes 495 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque, and so it's gonna be, they said, really the only naturally aspirated engine in this segment anymore. Everything's gone, with forced induction, and so yeah, it also has an active exhaust to go along with that, a glorious V8 sound, and so that changes with the different drive mode. Speaking of drive modes, there's a new Z mode that's right on the steering wheel as a button, and you can kind of use that as a customization of modes, so you can dial in things to have everything unique if you don't want to have just all the standard stuff with whatever mode you're in, and so that's cool. This engine is going to be mated to a Tremec 8-speed dual clutch automatic only. No manual option for the first time ever, I believe, in a Corvette, which is a bummer for those who enjoy that. And that was one of the hallmarks of the Corvette. I mean, a huge amount of them were sold with a manual transmission, and so to not have that is a big loss, and that's really, I think, one of the biggest downsides of this new Corvette. Now, I'm sure the dual clutch is going to be way faster, of course, and it's going to be very impressive. And, for maximum performance, that's just the way you have to go these days. But it would have been nice to see them offer a manual for those who don't care about 0 to 60 times and actually want to have a little bit more engagement. But unfortunately, that seems to not be the case. But the performance is spectacular. Under 3 seconds 0 to 60 times if you have the Z51 package. So that's in the higher trim, so you're not going to be able to get under 3 seconds on that base 60 grand car. But, probably not much beyond that in order to get that. So that Z51 package is, really the performance-oriented package for the enthusiast. So it gives you bigger brakes, performance exhaust, better cooling, a limited slip differential, more aggressive gearing, a sportier suspension setup. You get some sportier looks as well, and Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, summer tires there. And so they're saying it should pull between 1.03 to 1.05 Gs in corners, but even base models, again, under 60 grand, are going to be getting Michelin Pilot Sport all-season run flat tires. So all seasons, but I mean, arguably the best all-season tire you can get. And even those base models should be able to pull about 1 G in corners. So, a little less handling performance, but not a wild difference. And so that's impressive. And it sounds like all of these vehicles are going to be running 245 wide tires in the front and 305s in the rear. It's just a difference between summer tires and those all seasons. They're going to be 19-inch wheels in the front, 20s in the rear. And all models also run coil springs instead of the leaf springs. So that's one of the enhancements. Other things here as far as the construction and stuff, the dry weight, they're quoting 3,366 pounds for the base model. That would equate to roughly about a 3,600 pound curb weight according to Car and Driver. And so it's mostly aluminum construction, again, because you're having a $60,000 car. You're not going to get any kind of carbon fiber advanced stuff here in a vehicle that's that cheap. But it does have an advanced backbone, they're calling it, that's strengthened and does have a little bit of carbon fiber components mixed in with it to help give it additional strength. But it's mostly aluminum here for the Corvette. The rear bumper beam also is the only other carbon fiber part you'll find in the vehicle. So that means if you get rear-ended one of these things, it's going to be expensive. But that's the only other part that's carbon fiber. Other construction things, you'll see it has a small frunk in the front there and a trunk in the back that you can actually fit a set of golf clubs in. So it's going to have some practicality, and that is kind of what you're getting, because you're losing the famous large hatch that you always got in Corvettes, because that's where the engine's at now, of course. So neither trunk is huge, and so I think practicality wise this is going to be worse than the C7 hands down. But, you know, that's, again, what the price you have to pay, I guess, for the advancement with the mid-engine setup there. Other things, it still keeps the target top, which is awesome, but that does mean since there's no dedicated hardtop option, you cannot get any kind of side curtain airbags for those who care about safety. Instead, you know, because that roof is removable, they don't have to do that, and so you have, you know, just this seat-mounted airbags instead. They're for the sides. Other things, interior-wise, though, it gets some higher quality materials. They showed some close-up shots of, you know, some metal elements and stuff, and obviously we'll have to wait till you know, we get to sit in them and try everything out to see just how high quality that stuff actually feels. But it does look nice. You can see the squared off steering wheel there is very interesting as well. Lots of buttons though in that center column, and a lot of people are upset about that because you have that standard Chevy infotainment display that's angled towards the driver, which makes it hard for a passenger to use, and it's like everything's wrapped around the driver, which is great. You know, it's a very driver-centric vehicle, but passengers probably won't enjoy it as much as the driver will, and just a lot of buttons that even, you know, from a driver standpoint could get distracting, but again, we'll reserve judgment until we actually are sitting in it and driving it and all that kind of stuff. And I think from a style standpoint, I don't think it looks bad. It's just, you know, the amount of buttons seems a little overwhelming. But I like the idea of a driver-centric cockpit there, and so that's kind of cool. Other things here is that it has a front lift system that can memorize, and you can program in up to 1,000 places where you need to lift the front. And so after the first time of hitting the lift button, I guess it'll ask you, do you want to save this lift? And if you do, then every time you pull up, the GPS will register that, and you don't have to keep hitting the button, which is really handy. And the fact that it can save up to 1,000 places means any place you ever drive more than once in this vehicle, just have it memorize it, and then you never even have to think about lifting that front nose. I'm not sure that if that's standard, that might be an option to get in those higher ones, because that does sound like an expensive option, but probably worth it, because with, you know, mid-engine vehicles like this, generally, you know, it's good to have that front lift if you can. Also interesting to note is they said it's going to be available in right-hand drive models, so this means that I'm guessing, you know, other markets, obviously that are right-hand drive, will be able to get this vehicle. They didn't really give any details though as far as which markets and you know, how many they will be bringing to those markets. That's the only thing that's kind of up in the air, is there's no actual pricing listed other than just the under 60,000, which is I mean, that is truly remarkable. I don't think anyone was expecting this to be that cheap. Even trying to find a C7 for under 60 grand is tough unless you're getting discounts and stuff. So that's kind of crazy. But anyway, these are going to start production in late 2019 here. I think I heard December previously as being when production would start. So these are going to be showing up in the middle of winter, which is unfortunate. You know, unless you live in a very sunny state, you're not going to be able to enjoy these until calendar year 2020 here. But sounds like it's going to be worth the wait. And there's going to be 3 trims to start with here. You're going to start off with an FE1 trim as the base trim, and so that's going to be presumably, you know, the cheapest one there. And then FE3 is actually the next level up, which seems a little counterintuitive. And so that includes the Z51 package. So mid-grade trim gets that package automatically, and with all those goodies, that should escalate it quickly. So I have a feeling that, you know, there'll be a few base models, but the majority are going to be mid-level and up, and people are going to want the nicer interior and the performance stuff, and so that's going to throw you probably pretty quickly into the 70s, I'm guessing. And then beyond that FE3 package and the Z51 package, there's an FE4, and that has all that stuff plus magnetic ride control added in too. So if you want the most advanced suspension setup, you can go for that as well. And at the very end, they also teased a convertible version as well, and we knew that was probably going to be coming. And And so, yeah, cool to see them tease that. So there's going to be more developing, and of course, this is just the beginning. If any of the other previous Corvettes are any indication, there's going to be faster ones, a Z06, some type of ZR1 down the road, I'm sure. There's even talk of potentially being an all-wheel drive hybrid or electric version, because E-Ray has been trademarked many times in the past and stuff like that. So we'll have to see. It's just the beginning. And, you know, the C7 lasted, what, I think 7 years or so for its life cycle. So we got, you know, well into the 2020s here to see this new vehicle develop, but very exciting to see the beginning of it here. And it's starting out really great. I mean, like I said, that $60,000 price tag completely redeems any shortcomings. I think styling-wise, I love the way it looks in the front. I think it actually looks very good. I love the sides too, the little, you know, cut out there with the intakes. The back end just looks like a Camaro to me, just plain and simple. Kind of looks a little bit like a C7 too, but I mean, so much like the Camaro before they just changed the taillights on the Camaro for the 2019 model year here. I do not like the back at all. I think it's awesome with the rear glass, being able to see the engine there in the back. That's all great. Just someone desperately needs to hurry up and make some aftermarket taillights that either look more like Corvette taillights or just look cooler than those ones. I'm just not overwhelmingly thrilled with those. Maybe, you know, sometimes Chevy offers like a smoked version. If there's like a blacked out version of those, maybe that would help it out a little bit. I don't know, but who knows? You know, we'll have to see what they end up doing with that down the road. But other than that, I mean, it's tough to argue with this. This is going to be the really hot car next year that's going to really be embarrassing a lot of other stuff for way more money. You know, with this being way less, it's going to be awesome. And so, yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts here on the brand new Corvette in the comments below. It's like I said, it's an exciting time. So, but anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.